Send
I'm
me a
going to.
message, that would be wonderful.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay, friends, we're about a minute early, but I hate to waste people's time. That's one of my greatest pet peeves in the world, is wasting other people's time. So let's get started. Let's get on it. For those of you that I haven't met, Paige and Sarah, nice to meet you. I am Debbie DeWitt. I've been with this office almost since the beginning, and it truly is a piece of my heart, a piece of my world, the best people you're going to meet in the business, and just the greatest support, resources. The only thing that will keep you from being successful in this brokerage is yourself, right? You got to decide to make it happen, get up, do the work. And if you do that, everything else is here. So I'm super, super excited that you've chosen to be here in Porian. Sarah Hancock, I'm really excited to see your face because I see it pop up on my social media all the time, and I don't think I've met you yet. So we're kind of meeting today. I'm really excited for that. And Paige, I guess I'd like to start just really quick. I know you guys know each other well because you've been in class together for a couple of days, but maybe just telling me really quick, just a quick sentence or two about you, and maybe one thing that you have learned or that's really stood out to you over the session so far. So, and I guess let me add one more part to that. We're talking database today. And so if there's anything specifically that you really want to make sure we cover about database, a burning question, how do I do this? What happens if this? Anything else, I'm an open book. So feel free to share that now or anytime throughout the process. Paige has her finger on the button, so go ahead. We'll start with you.
Right on. Yeah, my name's Paige. My background's in aviation technology. I love everything at Keller Williams. What you said is just, I mean, the support I've received from there, everyone's like, just call me, just text me, whatever you need. You have these questions. And so that takes away a lot of the fear and, anxiety about being new at this. But as far as database goes, I'm, like I said, I'm new to the area. So I don't really, my sphere isn't out here. So I'm really tuning into ways I can get involved in the community, get involved with lead generation for someone who really knows like maybe two people here, and they're both at the grocery store and gym. So
I love that. And that is something we're absolutely going to talk about later today. So remind me when we get to that part, but we will go there for sure.
Right on. And then what was your name? I'm sorry, I think I missed
Debbie
that.
DeWitt. Yeah.
Debbie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Sarah. Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You've just moved here, I've seen.
Yes, like 4 days ago.
Oh gosh, just. Nice job. Tell me just really quick about you and something you either have learned thus far or want to learn about databases.
Well, since I'm the new tech concierge, I am sort of bringing what I know to the market center, but honestly, I'm here to just learn maybe what I don't already know and any new things that I can bring to everybody else. So yeah, I'm excited to listen in today.
Love that. Nice to meet you, Salvador.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Tell us just a quick thing about you and or either something you've learned this far or something you want to make sure we cover about databases.
Okay, so databases, I'd like to get a better understanding on just how I can work with a database, create a better database, and learn how to grow from that. What I'm understanding after a day or two in Ignite is that database is everything. And
Amen.
yeah, and connecting with your database and keeping a constant communication with them is a crucial thing for me. And that's something that I really like to learn and pick up on.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I think just what Salvador said, the same thing, realizing the importance of your database and maintaining it. And I mean, as kind of unsexy as it sounds, but kind of every time you reach out to your friends and family, make a note of it. If they've got something going on in their life, especially as someone who's maybe a little bit shyer, it can help you spark a conversation down the road. If you remember something personal about what they've told you.
So true, so true, so true. Warm leads are way easier to work with than a cold lead if you've got something to connect with. How about in the room? Just, I think all of you, except we haven't met yet.
No, we have not.
Maria.
Maria, nice
Yes,
to
you as
meet
well.
you. I've also seen your adventures on social, but I'm glad to put a body with your face, I guess, and meet you. So in the room, just a little bit more about what you want to learn today on databases. What's important, or what do you want to do?
I'll go first. This is Stephanie. I feel like I really got out of the gate and was putting a lot of information, and then I've stepped away from my database for a couple months, and now I'm coming back to it and trying to figure out how to set it up so that I'm actually efficiently using it.
Love it. Okay, we will go there for sure.
Yes, Jamie, and I am along the same boat as Stephanie, like I'm using it more efficiently. And, you know, we learned about the 36 touch and all of that.
Yeah.
How to actually implement it in the database and what's the easiest way to do that.
Okay, love it.
Linda, and I'd say I echo what everybody else
Yep.
has said, but one of the things that I noticed in the last day and a half, talking about leads and databases, one of the things that feels daunting for me right now is, you know, having those like touch point conversations where you're checking in with people, and then just like it seems so daunting to think of like, you know, I don't know, I have 200 plus contacts of how much time that's going to take and how to be comfortable with doing that, or how to take small bites to like have that be something that you do regularly with whoever is in your database.
Love it. Love it. How about you, Casey?
I could just bounce right off of that. I think it's using it. It's the same thing. Like I have it, I know the people that are in it, just making it more of a tool. Because right now I just look at it. Is that it's a lot of work. But yeah, and just look at all those things. You go, well, now.
I love the term daunting, right? Because you're like here, right? Do you get to this point and you freeze?
Yeah, or like retract.
I've been working on getting this listing entered all morning, and sometimes same thing, words just flow. And other times I feel like I'm doing this hunt and peck because I can't think of the words I want to use. And so it gets overwhelming because I need to just chunk it out, right? Instead of look at the whole process of here I go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go down all of those rows. How about you? Anything to add, Maria?
I don't think I'm gonna say anything differently than anybody else has said,
Yeah.
just utilizing it.
I think you guys have all hit the nail on the head, right? That we know it's important. It's not about, is it important? Why do I need it? There are some questions about I don't have one, and we're going to talk about that. But I think for the most part, we all agree it's necessary. We all agree it's the stability, it's the foundation, it's the building blocks that is going to not only build our business, but keep it strong and keep it producing and keep you off of the real estate roller coaster, right? Which I think is kind of what you guys have talked about, right? Because you're brand new and you don't know what to do, and I have this time and I need to be working and doing something so I can work on my database, and that's fabulous. And then you get busy, and so you get busy with that, and all of your lead gen, all of your database, all of your foundational stuff gets tossed out the window because I have a client, I got to deal with them first. And so you deal with them all of your times here, and then they close, you celebrate, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm unemployed again. I have to start over. And so you get back in your database, you get back in your marketing, you get back in doing stuff, you get a client, and now here you go, you're busy again, you get them closed, and you're unemployed again, right? And so I think a big chunk of it, and I'll be honest, I've been in this business 17 years now. Time blocking is still not my strength. And I think it's more because I didn't start it at this stage. I've tried to implement it many times through my career. So if there's one piece of advice right there, it's just start. Start now, get going, build the habits so you're ready to take it on further. Oh, we had computers delivered from the sky.
Computer delivery.
So I love this, and I'm going to be very honest and transparent with you guys from the very beginning. This is my favorite session of Ignite to teach because database is absolutely my business. It's what I've used all through the years. It is my bread and butter. More than that, it's my heart. So it's my favorite session to teach, and it's a whole new format, it's a whole new piece, and it's very regimented, and so I'm trying very hard to follow my directions, to follow the book. I'm going to give you my honest best try, and I might waver a little bit, so I'll try and keep it on task. But I do love the beginning of the book where they talk about that the goal is to get your first appointment in 2 weeks and to sign your first contract in 30 days. That's awesome, right? That's fast start, because even if we get our license and get a deal under contract day one, you're still 30 days out from payday, right? And so the sooner we can get you in production, the sooner we can get those wheels flowing. And really, I think even more that the sooner you can build those habits and those systems and those processes and this database, the sooner it's all going to start to snowball. So I really love that. The one thing I will tell you, and I think this is a lot of the overwhelm too that several have mentioned, is don't be like me in that I spend a lot of time, let me rephrase that. I waste a lot of time getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready, because I like things pretty perfect, maybe not perfect. I like them pretty darn close. And in that, I've wasted a lot of time. I think Jim Carroll is the best example of that, and his famous quote about everything works, nothing doesn't. Meaning anything you get out there today is going to work far better than that nothing that you've waited to perfect, right? So this is one of those where I'm going to say most of this stuff I'm happy to share with you. Do it, take it, whatever. Don't get ready to get ready to get ready. I think that's the beauty of Ignite, is it's time to just jump right in, do it. We'll work through it together. We'll build it together. You're going to be stronger together. You're just going to learn so much more as you go along and do it than hypothetically, what would I do next? Right? Okay, now comes the key of, can she advance the screen?
She can do it.
We can just use the arrows. It's easiest.
Oh, look at you. Awesome. Okay, so the two things today are making the differentiation between what we need to do to grow our business and what we need to do to run our business, right? And again, this is that roller coaster effect we were talking about. You come in and you start to grow, and then when you have to start running, you lose time to grow, and then you're back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So definitely, the more you can take these items on the left side and growing your business and time block them into every single day, whether you do the MREA way and come in and start fresh with them in the morning, or whether you choose to flip it and take care of business details in the morning and lead gen in the afternoon, that's not as important as the fact that you do it every day, right? So why do you think, I guess we just covered that, why it's important to do everything every day so that we build that foundation? We're going to start with that lead generate piece. Why is the database important in lead generating? What part does the database play in your daily lead gen?
It's a prompt. You
Okay.
know, it often is telling me, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday next week, get a card in the mail. So if I've set it up properly, it's working.
Oh, wait, did you hear what she said?
If, and it's a big if.
Right,
Set
so
it up properly.
it's only going to give you what you've given it to start with, right? Good in is good out, bad in is bad out.
But hopefully it's giving me ideas on how to spend my time lead generating and what needs to be done in what order. Organizes me.
So if you take that extra time to not just put names and numbers in a database, but to also put in birthdays, anniversaries, as you close transactions, anniversary dates of that transaction, if you can find out information on their kids or their pets, that is gold plated. That will mean more to them than anything. Anything that's important to them, right? If you can put it in there and you set your command up to trigger that, you lose that power to go, oh yeah, I should do that. I think I should probably check and see who has a birthday, because it's spitting it out right at you, right? And so I think that's, to me, part of the beauty of that is you don't have to think about what to do. It just jumps out. And for those of us that get ready to get ready to get ready, it eliminates that piece of the puzzle.
And
Right.
birthdays for me, I love sending cards, even to strangers.
Yeah.
But birthdays were easy. Anybody on my Facebook, I went into my Facebook birthdays page and I made sure I had every one of those people, whether they were my family or good friends or not. So that's easy to find.
So we're going to jump a little bit. Let's talk Facebook, right? And social media. For those of you that don't have a database, do you have social media? Paige, shake your head. Sorry, I'm calling you out, girlfriend. That's a database, you guys. It may not be all of the information, but it's a start, right? If you go into that database, people have a lot of information in their about page. You can pull a lot from there, and then it's a good reason to reach out and say, hey, I see your birthday's coming up next month. How exciting is that? I'd love to send you a card. Can you remind me what your mailing address is? Even if they're out of state, right? Because that's one of the beauties of being associated with Keller Williams is that we can do business worldwide. So unless they live on another planet, they should be in your database. You can totally help them transact. And you guys, that is the easiest business to do, right? To start building that network of agents around the world so that when you have somebody that says, hey, I have a friend moving to Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, which is where my sister lives. And so I've built a strong database right there. So I know when her friends need people, I've got good contacts there. I've got a younger daughter. My youngest daughter is moving to Germany in a couple of weeks, which is a whole nother story. But you can bet I'm building a network in Germany because she's going to meet people that need real estate there. And she's going to say, oh, my mom's a realtor. And then we're going to connect. On top of that, maybe I'll make some trips out there and be able to write them off because I'll stop in and meet these new people while I'm there. There's so much opportunity, even if your people don't live right here in Denver. So do not write them off because of that. Do not think, oh, they don't care what I'm doing in real estate. They care, and you want them to think of you as their real estate professional no matter where they live. So great opportunity to reach out to your people in social media, making sure, again, you've got all of that contact info. I love here where they say, sorry, I'm already off my pages.
You do you, Deb.
I know, I'm trying really hard. Where they talk about how the size of your database determines the size of your data bank, and you'll hear that frequently. I have mixed feelings about that because I'm a quality over quantity person. I would rather have a really solid, robust database of all of these people I know well and have good info than just a million people that I've never met, but I have contact info. Your mileage may vary. That's just the way I have chosen to build my business. It works both ways, right? And so I would say the size matters, but also the quality matters. And I think that's a super important piece here. However, the big picture of a well-tended database produces leads. A powerful database managed by a powerful schedule produces a predictable flow of leads. And from that predictable flow, you can expect a predictable flow of business, right? So you got to have the information. You have to find the information. You have to get it in your database, right? So it's there for you to access. But then you also got to do something with it. You still cannot lose the personal connection there. That's where the money is. That's where the success is. That's where the transactions come from. I don't think there is anybody on this planet that doesn't love to feel valued, noticed, and appreciated, right? I really think that's our whole world. If we could make people feel more valued, noticed, and appreciated, our world would be in a better place. That's where most of our breakdown happens, when people lose that. So at the end of the day, if I have reached out to my people and made them feel noticed, valued, and appreciated, that's success to me, right? Because you know you've affected their life, you've affected their world, and you've also then become that person in their life that they want to work with. People want to work with those that they know, trust, and value, and that's who you now are in their world. Questions about any of that so far? Okay, I'm trying to follow my book, and it tells me that on page 3 of your participant guide, there are some questions. Does everybody have that? Okay, what is the first question in your guide?
What's the purpose of your?
Okay, so it's just like my screen here, beautiful. So I think we've talked a little bit, right, about what the purpose is. We've talked a little bit about why it's valuable. Any other thoughts about what else could make it valuable? Why else it has value to you?
It's a way, I'm super disorganized if I don't have things in one place.
Yeah.
Like I get business cards or I take notes, you know, and they're just like flying all over the place. So if I make a point to put it in the database, I know that I've got it if I lose that scrap of paper.
Have you guys seen the video in any of your classes yet about Gary Keller in his early days and his Rolodex? I love that video.
Does everybody know what a Rolodex is?
Right, or his little card file, I think he called it, I actually think it was pre-Rolodex, I think it was more like the recipe cards in the box.
Right.
But it's beautiful because it was the beginning of these types of systems, right? And it was putting all of that information in one place. Now, he still had to go in and manually move the cards each month and put them in the right places, where now Command will do that for you if you give it that information. But it's absolutely kind of that place to put all of your info in one place and organize it. Yeah. What other industries use a database for prospecting and marketing? Oh, the picture. Good luck. Take pictures of them getting your picture. That's special. Sorry. Who else uses a database besides realtors?
Any sales based. Yeah.
Property management, even like doctor's offices.
Yeah.
I get like a birthday card from my dentist.
I do
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Things like that.
Schools,
Schools, I was gonna say education.
churches, pretty much anybody that deals with a group of people, right? In any facet. Can you just think for a minute about how many databases you're a part of?
Yeah.
Think about all of that info that pops up on your social media. That's coming from a database of some sort, right?
When you
Not just
you Google
random.
yourself, and you're like, oh, that's
I
weird.
knew that. Yeah, absolutely. So they're used in different forms for everything. What about targeted marketing? First of all, can anybody define what targeted marketing is?
Is it that you are contacting people who you know have an interest in whatever it is you want to talk about?
Might be.
Specific group.
Yeah.
You target a specific group, whatever that
Yes.
group may be. Like I'm
Yes.
gonna stick to this neighborhood or.
Yeah. Or you're looking for moms, or you're looking for people that like to play tennis, or people that drag race via cars, or they own dogs. Could be anything, right? But it's a way of grouping people and then targeting your marketing so it appeals to that specific group of people, right? My new listing up right by Ralston Valley High School, right? Ralston Valley High School is highly acclaimed. People want to get their kids in there. A lot of times they can't get their kids in there open enrolled. And so you've got to move into the neighborhood. You see that happening a lot. So you bet I'm going to target marketing. I have to be careful, but I'm going to target marketing. So I make sure it pops up into the feeds of those people that have an interest in that high school, right? Do you think that your marketing is going to be more effective if you're near a dog park and you send or reach out or whatever to those people that you've tagged as dog lovers or pet lovers or own a dog than somebody who maybe lives on the beach in Southern California and has no pets?
Yeah.
Probably not, right? And so the best way to target market starts from how you have input them in your database. Has everybody started playing with Command a little bit and putting your people in? Everybody online too? Okay, so those tags are golden, right? I will say again, getting ready to get ready, it took me a long time to figure out how I wanted to best use those tags because I couldn't figure out really what the best way to market was, what the best way to break people down. And at that point, I thought I had a limited number. I think you can do whatever. And so I am getting a lot more purposeful when I put people in my database, what those tags are. I always put in, were they buyers or sellers? If we've transacted, I always put in the years of those transactions because, you know, what's the average time people stay in their home, right? So if I want to run a search or pull up all of my database for people that closed in 2015 or whatever the year is, it'll automatically pull for me. I don't have to go back to my records and spreadsheets and calendars and see who closed during that time period, right? So again, the more time you spend putting it in correctly, the less time you're gonna have to spend pulling it out the backside. I just had Elizabeth, she's working on sending out a reminder email. So ladies, sorry Salvador, but everybody else, we would love to have you join us for Lady Leaders tonight, our leadership group here at the office, which is just super awesome. I hope the men come up with their own little thing, but this is ours. Would love to have you join us tonight. And so I said, can you do that? Can you send it just to the women in our office? Because Salvador doesn't want to be bothered with that email. And she said, yep, I set up a tag. So all she's got to do is click and send it, which is genius. That is the perfect use for a tag like that. What are some other tags you think you could use in your database to help you down the road as you grow? What are some other targets that you think you might want to market to? Or connect. Connecting is also huge in this industry.
I've put in tags that help me remember how I know the person. So it might have been from a former job.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. How did you get their information, right? Friends, family, if you're involved in a group or a club or something, you know, that they've come from that group. Yes, absolutely. Any other tags you can think of that might be helpful?
What part of town they live in?
What part of town they live in? Yeah. Casey, from your awesome Drinks in the Driveway or Drinks in Your Neighborhood, I can't remember how you titled it, but it was awesome.
Yep.
And definitely tagging people based on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Especially knowing which ones came and which one didn't come, so you don't do it again. Or you don't,
100%.
like,
And maybe you try again,
You
but
might
maybe a
have, but
third
you
time you just
remember
really
who's there.
focus. Yeah, absolutely. Any client event that you might have. Any marketing that you might send out. If you've run any ads through Command, any social media ads, the leads that come in from there, I tag differently because 95% of my business are warm leads, right? They're coming from my database or from referrals from them. And so I want to make sure I have that other category for those people that I really don't know other than they clicked on something I sent out. Yeah, so again, good in, good out, junk in, junk out, right? And it's, if you create that habit right now as you're starting your business, you're going to put everything in and you're going to fine tune it, right? As you go along, you're going to go, oh, I should have thought of whatever. But now you only have that item to go back and add to everybody. You don't have to go back like I am, starting at AA again and going, okay, what else could I do here that would be better? What else could I do to strengthen my database so it's more user friendly? Okay. Paige, back to you. As far as database, right? We talked about social media, your friends and followers. We've talked about any group, schools, clubs, churches, teams, activities you might be involved in where you've got those contacts. What about just your phone? Right? Think about how many people are in your phone. If you're like me, there are a lot of people in my phone. I don't have a clue who they are. But I can find out, right? I get messages all the time from people that I'm in their phone and they don't know who I am. I find this a lot from big KW events where we meet people all over and people put me in their phone, but they haven't tagged me for where they met me or that I was a Colorado realtor or whatever. And so now there's extra time on the backside, right, to go back and figure that out. So don't hesitate. There's that extra line in your phone contacts, right? Put where you met those people, put some note about it right there. So even if you can't get it in Command right now, you've got some recollection of where it came from. Okay. So Paige, do you have a database?
A small one, I'd say, you know, because I'm not from the area, but I'm currently growing a small one for here in Colorado, which is groups I'm involved in. Pretty much anyone who will talk to me and exchange information.
Love it. And remember, all those people should also be in your database, just tagged differently. And you still want to get in front of them, letting them know that you are in real estate and here to help. Yeah. That was one of the main reasons when I did my branding, and of course, all my branding is circles, polka dots. But the perimeter of my round sign panel says from, I don't know, from around the corner to around the city to around the state to around the world, or something like that, because I want people to remember that we can help them wherever they are.
Nice.
Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Okay. So the next part talks about the levels of a millionaire database, starting with the essential, and that's kind of the basic, right? That's probably what's in our phone, and actually it's probably more information than what most of us have in our phone for people. Their name, their contact info, and then just again, you know, maybe where you met them from, how they ended up in your world.
What does at-will communication mean?
Meaning you're free to contact each other at any
Okay.
time. If you needed something, you'd contact them. If they need something, they know they can call you. You're not necessarily going to call and chat about the game or what's going on in your world or something personal, but you're kind of that, if you need something, I'm there, right? And also I would say this is where you get into, and that next step in effective, where you get into that connecting and you get into putting them into groups and you get into tagging what some of those commonalities might be so you can target a little bit better. They talk about obtaining permission. Now, it's not like you need to send them a formal document saying, do I have permission to call you or whatever, but I think it's a really easy conversation when you're calling to get their birthday or calling to get that mailing address and just saying, hey, you know, I'm in real estate, I'm not going to bother you, but is it okay if I find whatever it is, or is it okay if I just reach out from time to time? It can be super casual. Most people, if you keep it casual like that, they're going to say, sure, that's fine. I mean, what would you say if somebody said that? There are a few people I would say, no, thank you. But almost all people, I'd be like, well, that's fine. Now, if they got obnoxious, I might change, but that's not what you're asking, right? You're just saying, hey, is it okay if we stay in touch? Awesome. This is the place going from essential to effective where it becomes a two-way conversation, right? Where you have reached out and they've responded and you're going back and forth. You're having a dialogue, I think is the best way to describe it. It's not just one of those relationships where you reach out and say something and they never respond. You're just giving them information, answered their question, and you're done. Really think in those early stages of building the relationships and getting people in your database, try really hard anytime somebody asks you a question to give them that info and turn around and ask a question or give them an action item or something to continue that dialogue, right? Because have you ever gotten to that point where you're like, I don't know what to say next. They didn't give me like that opening. They didn't give me that little piece to hang on to. And then it kind of starts to feel awkward because now it feels like we're forcing the conversation a little bit. Versus if you continue to kind of guide that conversation, it's going to continue to bounce back and forth, right? Have you ever had somebody that you're texting with and they're so good about that? You're like, I just want to stop, but I got to answer you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it also is awkward when you get the answer and you're like, okay, and I'm sorry, I hate the thumbs up.
Oh, I was gonna say, I
hate that.
rely on the emojis at that point.
I will do emojis, I'll smile, I whatever, that thumbs up, I hear it as, okay, great, whatever. That's not what you're saying, that's how I hear it for whatever reason. So it is what it is, but the more you can just kind of guide that conversation to keep it going, whether it's text, whether it's email, whether it's voice to voice, belly to belly. And it's not a bad thing when you've got a few minutes, when you're sitting waiting to pick somebody up or you're stuck in traffic. Well, probably not when you're in traffic because then you're driving. When you're stopped, but how many of us get to an appointment, we have 10 minutes to kill or whatever. It's not a bad idea to just have something in your phone or on paper to just write some of those questions of things I could say when I'm in an awkward moment. Things I could bring up, directions I could take the conversation, right? Because while I will tell you all day long, I'm not a scripter, at the end of the day, I script all the time. It's just not a formal script, but I'm saying the same things repeatedly. So the more times I consciously say those questions or those thoughts or take things in that direction, the more ingrained they become to where I get in that awkward situation and I'm ready. It just flows off my tongue. It feels natural. It doesn't feel scripted now. It feels natural, right? Does that make sense? Anybody have any thoughts of questions you could use or statements you could use to continue a conversation? All you guys online, please jump in anytime too. What else could you say? Sometimes it's as simple as saying, can you tell me more about that? Or how did you get that? Or where did you find that? Or that's really cool. I would love to know more about that, right? Because I think first of all, you're letting them know that you heard them, right? And you want to know more. And that's how relationships build. That's when they're like, oh, they care about more than just they want real estate business. And that's where you're going to the beauty and that magic comes from. Okay. MREA talks about with cold leads, it takes 19 touches to connect. Seems like a lot, doesn't it? And yet think about when you get that cold call, you get that knock at your door, you get that person in the grocery store. I'm not giving them a lot of information right out. I want to build a relationship with you, but I'm not going to just offer it freely. I'm not. So there's definitely some process. There's definitely some strategy, right? And this is part of putting the tasks or the SMART plans in place in command so that you don't have to go, when did I talk to Susie? Oh, wait, am I due for a cold call or am I supposed to send her a message or I don't have time to figure it out. I'll look at it later, and you never do, right? You had 5 minutes to reach out then to make the call, send the email, whatever. But you took the time, wasted the time getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready, and now you don't have time and you're on with your day. And she probably missed that touch. So if you guys take full use of those resources, they are there for a reason because they've been shown to work. And you can tweak them as you go along. That's where I waste a lot of time too, is in my personal tweaking. But do it the way it's written first, because there's a reason it's been written that way. So you've taken all those 19 touches, right? You've worked really hard with that cold lead, that person you didn't know. Finally, you're like having these dialogues, you're having these conversations, maybe even they're reaching out to you for a question or something instead of you starting the conversation. That is where I feel like the Hallelujah chorus sings and, you know, the stars come down from heaven. It worked. And you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. And then what do? You go, okay, check one up. They're now more than just a lead, they're a contact now, right? I'm done.
No.
Follow up.
Really, you're just beginning, right? You've moved them from this person that exists on the planet to this person that now exists in your world. And I think that's a huge step. And I would absolutely say celebrate that moment, pat yourself on the back. Take a minute, and now it's time to really get to work. And so while it took us 19 touches to get here, now it's going to take 36 touches likely to get to the next step. That's a lot of touches, right? That's a lot of touches for hoping for one piece of business. And yet, is it really one piece of business? Or is it the beginning of a lifetime of your phone ringing? And I think that's the really big piece you have to remember right now is real estate is a front load business. It's a lot of work up front to get that ball rolling and to build that momentum and get it up that hill. And then what happens when the ball gets it to the top of the hill? It just starts to roll down with great business, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, my phone rang again today. Every time I start to plan a vacation, your phone's gonna ring like crazy. I don't know how it works, but it always works that way.
It's a law of the universe.
Well, it is. And that's always been kind of our joke around here is if your business is slow, plan a vacation because that will change it in a hurry. And yet the reality is, right, it's the building blocks that you've done over time. It's that foundation that you've been working on. All of the stars now align and here they come. So based on here, that 36 touches, while it seems overwhelming and daunting, right? Like doing your database and all of this right now, if we can chunk it out and put it into manageable pieces, suddenly it's not such a big deal. Suddenly we can do this. And I think that's the really important piece is to move from that place of overwhelm to that place of, I've got everything right here to make it happen and to do it. So with that, it's 4 phone calls. You guys, that's 1 phone call a quarter. That's not overwhelming, right? Understand this is 1 client. As your database grows, this grows as well. But 1 call a quarter, that's not too much to ask, is it? Does that feel like you're hounding somebody if you call them once every 3 months? Or does that feel like, gosh, I really care. It's been a while. It's time to check in again. I think that's really awesome. And I don't do a great job of this, I'll be honest. Definitely on my learning board of things I've got to work on. But if you chunk it down, it's not bad. 26 touches, so an email every other week with some kind of info. It's interesting how people watch and respond to emails, right? And you probably do exactly what Joe Q Public does. There are times you're on it, you're in all of your emails, and there are times you delete 47 emails without even opening them, right? That's life. Yours are going to be the same way. So you can't take it personal. You know it's a long game. You know that if you've sent 47, there's a good chance at least 2 or 3 of those are going to be answered, right? But 2 or 3, let's say you have 100 in your database. Let's say 2 or 3 times 100 people. You guys, that's a lot of responses. That's a lot of things that people are actually noticing about you. So don't look at it as a per client. What I'm getting, look at it as an entire database, what's coming back, right? 2 touches are events, get-togethers, parties. We recently had our grand opening, right? That was a great opportunity to reach out to people, and we're still grand opening. We have our ribbon cutting next week. Take some photos of that ribbon cutting. First of all, be here, be a part of it, celebrate with us because we're all better, stronger together. You guys too, get in here and be a part of it with us. We'd love to have you. But what a great way to take that picture. Not only social media, but why not put it as an email banner? Easy to do. Look at the cool things that are going on in my world. And not just my world, but look what we're doing. We're building community. And I'm sure those of you that are on my social are tired of hearing me talk about community. And I get that, and I'm trying to tone it back a little bit. But it's true, and that's my heart. That's what I genuinely feel. That's not a sales pitch. But I really believe it matters. I really believe in this world that we're all living in, this crazy world, community matters. And that's what I want people to hear from me. So take advantage. Those are free opportunities, you guys. It doesn't cost you a penny to be here. Doesn't cost you a penny to be a part of it. Doesn't cost you a penny to get the photos, and nor does it cost you any money to send those emails. It's just a little bit of time. If you've got all the info in your database, you literally create one and out it goes to all your people, right? So that's an easy thing to do. I think too often in this business, we come into it, and I get every corner you turn at the beginning, somebody needs another check from you for something every time. And I get it. I wish there were a better way to do that in this industry. And yet, what business can you personally start for less money? I'm not sure. With that being said, I think we look at those easy things that people are saying, oh, I buy Zillow leads, oh, I do this, I do that. And I'm not going to say do or don't, but there are a lot of opportunities that are legit free to do, right? So make sure you're looking for those, make sure you're putting it out there, and then be consistent. Because if you send 3 emails out every other week, like they're talking, and then you skip the 4th, you almost are starting over again because your people have lost that consistent touch from you. During pandemic, oh, I thought those cars were gonna crash. During pandemic, I can't believe we haven't seen, sitting on the patio, I've seen so many near misses.
That's what that needs to be a 4-way stop.
Yeah, Maria just walked across because she's like, this should be a crosswalk. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're gonna be the reason why they make it one way.
Yes, sorry, we digress. Hopefully when the construction's done, that will also be better too. I lost my train of thought. Where was that
If
going?
you miss a week. then
Oh,
you have to
yeah,
start
yeah.
over.
So during pandemic, I am not a video person, you guys. Again, I can't be perfect. So I get ready and I can't do it. So during pandemic, I thought I got to do something because I was just sitting on my patio going crazy. And so I started doing Monday videos every Monday. Once in a while, we touched on real estate. not much. Mostly it was just checking in with people, seeing how they were doing, talking about things the schools were doing, honoring the teachers going through that time, honoring the parents that were now trying to work from home as well as be teachers, just trying to honor people and let them know they matter. That's all they were. They were a couple minutes long. Because I know myself well, I allowed myself 2 takes and 2 takes only. I could use the first one or I could do it a second time, but that was it. Choose which one. I will say each one gets successively worse because you're scripting and then you try and change that script and it doesn't work. And then you're bubbling, maybe it's just me. Anyway, 1 take, 2 takes max. And I was doing them really good every morning and I was getting lots of great feedback. And then I missed a Monday. Do you know how many people reached out to me and said, is everything okay? Just checking in. You guys, I didn't think anybody was even noticing. I didn't think it mattered, and it did. So think about that. Think about even, I know this isn't on the list of touches, but think about putting that video together. What a great place to walk through the streets of Old Town and just share about your new community. That's not salesy. That's, I'm super excited to be a part. I'm here. And video is validity. People can read your words and they don't know if you wrote those words or somebody else wrote those words or where it came from. Maybe it's something you bought where you just click and it comes from you. When you're on that screen and you're walking and just talking, it's you and people get to know you. So really think about that. I hate it. I don't love it. I haven't grown to love it anymore, but I have seen it affect my business in a positive way. So really think about adding that and potentially putting that in one of your messages that you send out to people. They also talk about the promotional stuff. People can do it, right? You can do the keychains, the magnets, the recipes, any of that stuff all day long. I'm not going to tell you don't do it, but I think you can use your dollars better by just being real and just reaching out to people and just letting them know they care. I think that's really where it's at. So don't write those other things off, but maybe that's a someday goal. You know, one day I'm going to send that. One day I'm going to have this big client event and I'm going to have beer koozies with my label on them and banners and balloons. And that's awesome. Events are huge. Events make people know, again, you matter, right? Because you're doing this for them for free. But that's maybe not the thing you need to do day one. You're going to stand there making me nervous.
She's totally following the script.
True the word.
You're not supposed to say that to me, you're supposed to say that to Margaret.
Charles knows me too well. In fact, we just had a conversation about this morning, and I don't know if I can follow a script like that. Okay. Anyway, back to the script. The goal of all of this, right, is moving your people and moving your database as a whole from just a bunch of words on a page to words that have faces with them, that I know who they are, they know who I am, to people that are going to reach out and think about me when they have any real estate need, right? And those are kind of the 3 when they go essential, effective, and exceptional. Those are the 3 steps of what you're trying to build and what you're trying to put people through. The less info that you put in your database means the more hands-on you're going to have to be, the easier it is to procrastinate, and the easier it is to simply never quite get to consistency, right? I mean, that's me. Again, I'll be transparent. That's not my great strength, and it's something that even after all these years, and maybe especially after all these years, I need to get better at, and I think we can all improve. So the more info you put in there, the more consistency your business is going to have without sacrificing the quality or the depth of the touch. And I think that piece, I wrote it and then I read it like 4 times and went, oh, you should listen to your own advice. Because I always tend to think that the more systematized I get, the more I'm going to lose the personal aspect of it. That's what's playing in my head. And the reality is that's not true. The more consistency and systematized I get, then that means the deeper I can go with those connections, because I don't have to think about the what, the when, the who, or the how. I can just focus on that person. So that gave me goosebumps. I need to really listen to my business. But it's really, you guys, again, just about making sure they know you've noticed and you know that they mean more to you than just business. Have you ever had a relationship with somebody like that, that the only time you hear from them is when they
Want
are trying to
something.
meet a goal or trying to sell something or having a something party or whatever, and you feel like a credit card is your relationship? Yeah, don't be that person. So it says using a database is key to running a successful business. Based on what we've talked about so far, what pieces are you hearing coming from your database that can really help grow your business? Anybody online?
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe. I lost my script of what I just said. Based on what you've heard so far, the things and the reasons to build a database, what are you hearing that, gosh, if I did this, it would help me grow my business? I need to focus on this to build that stability and function.
I think just focusing on a script for certain people, and kind of like you said, don't over prepare, but surely customize your script for that person that you met in that certain time in that scenario. And that's one of the big keys I think I'm picking up on to understand.
Love it. Anybody else online or here?
I think for me, it's getting that database, like you said, more organized for consistency, because no matter how much, you know, my great intent that I have to do things.
Oh, girl, if we could build a business on intent.
Then, you know, yeah, and stay and just to create consistency for me.
Anybody else? Thoughts on database?
I love what you said about staying in touch with people. I have a friend that only reaches out to me when she needs something. So I think that's, and I you know, I value this person, but you know, it's just becoming this way, and it's really obvious, and to not be that person. And so to do that, staying in touch and staying in communication, I think groups are really helpful. I'm in like online, some aviation communities. I do clay shooting. So that's groups and communities like that, or dog owners. I mean, Facebook just has so many neighborhood groups, right? And staying engaged on those, it'll build a relationship rather than you're only hitting them with the emails and the real estate stuff. So that really opened my eyes up to just staying in communication, and then natural. And it's a fun thing to do when you're involved in these activities that you like. It's easy to communicate and stay in touch with people. And if the real estate thing happens to come up, then I'm happy to talk about that too. But I think that's important, because I really don't like the sales pitchy stuff, right? I don't like feeling like I'm being sold, or I'm just part of a cold call list or something like that. So I think that's really useful, is to not be that person that's doing that sort of thing.
Paige, you're talking about something that I think I notice as I get older, I start to really see, I can see them a mile away, people who are friends and we've had a relationship, but we kind of dwindle down to them just contacting you when they need something. And it's a way to disrupt that, if you really value the person, to put them on the other end of the phone and start doing calls that are not about selling, not about asking them for something, but are about really trying to connect with them, which is, I think you're talking about if you're really connected to someone or not, right?
Right.
Is it a transactional relationship, or is it a real relationship, right?
And I feel like in this industry, you're going to get the most benefit out of a real relationship. This is a serious, major purchase. I mean, people want a professional, but they also want, beyond that, someone they can trust, someone who's invested in this huge sale or purchase. And so I like that. So I want
to way to just live life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Any other thoughts?
I really like the idea of being able to use a script for when you come across even strangers, now that we're out and about in the world a little bit more. I have a friend who can talk to anybody, and she will make a best friend on the way from the parking lot to the restaurant, just bumping into people. And I've always been jealous and admired her for that because, you know, that's just not how I operate. But I try to take pointers from her, you know, just watching how she talks to people. And, you know, she meets other outgoing people who like to talk to people, and they don't mind, you know, sometimes she's in sales and other times she's not. She's just an outgoing person. But, you know, these other people, they like to talk to her too. So it's not like she's putting anybody on the spot or putting them out or embarrassing them or, you know, taking up their time when they don't want to have their time taken. So, you know, I like to get into that mindset of there are people who like to talk to people, even strangers. And, you know, I can meet those people. And if I have a script, you know, then I can gather information and use them in my database.
I love that. And I think there's so much perspective in that also. And it's interesting because I feel like COVID and quarantine to some extent has taken all of us and put us here or here. We either are craving people or I did just fine without people. And especially in that kind of in between time where we were all starting to go out again, but everybody was masked. Did you notice how often when you would meet somebody with a mask on, their eyes would drift away from you? That broke my heart, and I hated that piece. I would rather be in a dark room than have people walk past me and not be able to catch that glance. And I think, Sharon, I think while all of us are wired more easily social or more not as social, there's great words for both of those, and I couldn't come up with them.
Introvert, extrovert.
Yes, but not really, because I will tell you, I am a pretty strong introvert, and yet I'm not sure I present that way very often. So I think that yes and no. I think a big piece of that though is just getting comfortable with it. And the only way to get comfortable with it isn't to get ready, but it's really to just jump right in. And one of the best things I have done in that arena, I know a lot of you have your KW name badge that the office gives you when you come in. We got banners going on over here. I guess it's warm in the room.
Sorry.
I'm ready to grab my sweater. Anyway,
I'll try not to make too much.
I do have name badges, I guess I've had through the years, but I do have a sparkly rhinestone KW pins that I just wear mostly in the winter. They're on all of my coats. And I kind of forget they're there. And they're kind of I call them my silent soldiers, because it amazes me how I'll be standing in line at Starbucks or the grocery store, or whatever, and somebody will turn around and see that and make a comment. Oh, are you in real estate? Well, gosh, if you're going to break the ice like that, I can fire back and we can have a conversation for hours. I don't necessarily want to walk up to you and say, oh, hey, I'm in real estate. That's not comfortable for me. I could walk up and say hello, and I do that frequently. But the fact that just seeing that, it grabs their attention and they bring it up, it's super easy to have a conversation, partly because they've started the conversation, broken the ice, partly because I've had that conversation so many times. But I think the more you have those questions that you have practiced, you know, I've got 3 questions I'm always going to try and ask. And also even just role playing with people, even just role playing with yourself in the mirror. I'm not a good role player. I can do it in the mirror, or I can do it just sitting there, talk to myself. Should I not have admitted that? I'm sorry.
Trying to get you answer.
Yeah, well, I don't answer. You're right. Good point. Thank you for that. Whatever it takes to just get those words kind of ingrained where they just roll off your tongue and feel natural, because I think that's one of the pieces for those of us that struggle with scripting is we don't want to sound scripted, right? And it is scripted until it rolls off your tongue, and then it just becomes part of your conversation. So I love that you've shared that, and I love that you have somebody that you recognize does that really well, and that you can kind of model that and mirror that. And, you know, maybe she's got some questions you could add to your list. I don't think that's a bad conversation. And I actually think it's extremely flattering to her to say, hey, I've noticed this about you, and I'm trying to model that a little bit as I'm getting my business off the ground. What are some questions I could use? What do you typically say? And I'm sure she would be pleased to share some of that with you. And again, just the fact that you've noticed that is a big start in that direction. I don't know where I'm at in the book. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
What are the 3 questions that you ask? If someone comes up to you, just random conversation, not triggered by, let's say, a KW pin or logo on your clothing and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's more just natural, like what are those questions that you ask?
That's a great question. And I think now that I've done it for so long, I'm not sure I have 3 standard. It's more, you know, I've pulled from so many different directions to meet that situation. And the ones with the pin, a lot of times I'll say, I am, why do you ask? And then they'll say, oh, yeah, I forgot that was even there. And so it's kind of funny, it breaks the ice further. We can talk about that. I will often comment on something they're wearing. If they've got kids in tow, I will 100% go that direction, or a pet, because people love to talk about their kids and pets. If I'm out for a walk, it will be something in their yard that I've noticed, something that 100% lets them know I've noticed something about them. I'd love to talk about the sunshine, but to me that's very cold. Like I could be talking to myself and talk about the sunshine, but I would rather direct it a little bit more personally at them. I think, again, that just continues the conversation. But I also think one of the best, connectors is just, why do you ask? Or tell me more about that, or really why, you know, and just let them go on from there. And the big thing, you guys, at that point is to just sit back and listen and not be so quick with that next question that you don't hear what they say, that you're going to react rather than respond. So sit back and listen.
One of the things that comes to mind, like my partner will often tell a story of when we were first dating and we went grocery shopping together. And she went to go get a grocery cart. We realized we needed more groceries, and we thought when we first walked in.
Yeah.
Goes and gets a grocery cart, and she comes back, and I'm standing at like a cantaloupe section, like teaching 3 or 4 people how to pick a cantaloupe.
Awesome.
Because I was picking mine, and then this guy asked, and then this woman heard, and then I had a group. So, you know, like, and I'm teaching them how to pick a cantaloupe. So
That's not gonna be at the grocery store. I asked somebody though.
Really?
That works
She
too.
looked like she couldn't pick out an avocado. I was like,
Totally, yeah. So then I'm just wondering, like, how do I make that, a deeper conversation? Or is there a way to, like, from picking a cantaloupe, like, hey, what are you doing? Show me what you're doing, to, like, let me really connect with you as an individual past this cantaloupe conversation.
Yeah, so maybe it's, you know, and you have to be careful how you say this, but something about, is this where you typically shop, right? It's not, do you come here often? But it's, you know, is this where you shop? Isn't this a great neighborhood? Isn't this a great store? You know, I'm actually a new realtor in this area, and I'm just really trying to get feels for why people love this location so much. Is there something you love about your neighborhood? You know, I have buyers that really want to buy here. Have you seen anything for sale? Because I'm just really trying to do the best I can for them. And you're not being salesy, right? You're trying to take care of your people. You're trying to get more information. Do you know where they have the clearance things in the store? Or is there, you know, somewhere that has organic cantaloupe, or I don't know, but something where they can show you that they're the neighborhood expert? Because people love to share what they know about things, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
they don't need to know that you don't have buyers. You just pick that up.
100%. You can come into the office and say, hey, I just heard about whatever. Does anybody have somebody that might know somebody? We have that conversation around here all the time, and that's a win for everybody, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Debbie,
Yes.
where did you get your pins, your KW pins?
The ones I have bought at events, family reunions, mega camps, and so forth. But if you shoot me a message when we're done, I bet I can find the source. I bet somewhere I've got the name of the company I've ordered them from. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, you know, I mean, use your name tag. The office got you. You can find on Amazon all kinds of real estate related t-shirts, sweats. I have a KW duffel bag that pre-COVID, when I was going to the gym versus working out at home, I would always carry my gym bag in that just said KW on it. And you know, it's not like the first time anybody said anything, but when I walked in about the same time every day and the same people saw it every day, that's when the questions started to come up.
So I know an agent that has a sticker on the back of his laptop, and he does a lot of things in coffee shops that says, ask me about real estate. And there's kind of a running joke with the kids that were in the school program from me that like, wear your name tag upside down in the
down,
grocery store. And people will be like, hey, your name tag's upside down. And that's a way that you could potentially engage somebody.
Yeah, that's a great trick. I've seen used many times. You know, a lot of times if I'm working at a coffee shop, I will make sure before I go to print off some beautiful listing photos and just have them sitting here next to me while I'm working away. And I can't tell you how many times people will walk past and, you know, not that they're being nosy, but when you walk past and you see this, it stops. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay. It's okay to be nosy for that. You're encouraging nosiness a little, but people will stop and ask, oh, that's a cool house. Oh, I know, isn't that great? I'm actually going to show that later today. Or I was just looking at that for a client, or that's my listing. I'm trying to get everything put together. Again, the conversation's easy from that point, right? Because it's just a typical real estate conversation. So think about those of you that are new, if you haven't gotten your K-Wave shirt yet, come to the next new agent breakfast and we'll give you your K-Wave t-shirt. The first one's free. And it's got, you know, the cool water tower logo on the back and KW big on your red t-shirt. That's free. You can wear it around the neighborhood or whatever. So make sure to get in for that. That's an easy, kind of like the name tag, but an everyday type deal.
Is that the meet the ACL or something?
ALC?
ALC, okay.
Yep, we'll be doing them once a month from here on out. So the next one should be in August. Reach out to Elizabeth if you haven't been and you want the invitation.
Oh, okay.
It's the same shirt we wore for Red Day, if you were with us at Red Day too. So basically all of these funny little graphics here are just showing that of 100 people, right? If you have 100 people in your database, maybe not 100 of them are going to do business this year, but I remember hearing a statistic at a KW event where they said every person typically knows 9 people a year that do some type of real estate transaction, right? So if you think about that, you've got 100 people in your database. If they know 9, that's suddenly 900 people with real estate needs in the next 12 months that you have the potential to reach. But you've got to focus on this group so that they remember to refer you out, okay? This is taking it down a little more, saying 2/3 of them want to be homeowners and 1/3 of them don't or can't. And then of that, every 10 years, these 7 people will be doing business on their own. Again, I get it, and I think that's an important statistic, but even more so, it's that 900 people this year that if you have 100 people in your database, you can affect, you guys, right? And some of them are going to know 40 realtors. That's not like that's not common, but of those 40 realtors they know, probably 37 of them are doing nothing consistently. At least, right? So that's still maybe 400 or 500 opportunities a year that you have if you just keep in constant contact with those people. That's golden, right? I mean, is that opportunity? And that's not just 2021, that's every year. So many people are wanting to or involved in looking at real estate right now. This is prime opportunity. For every dollar you invest, you should expect at least 14. I'm not sure where else you can get a 14-to-1 return, right? Even if that statistic were half correct. I think it might be inflated a bit, I don't know. But even half, that's 7, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you get that type of activity? You just don't. Mm-hmm. You guys, the horse races. Maybe once in your lifetime. But there is gold in your database. 100% there is gold. Okay, I'm off script again. Let's go page 19, I guess. Okay, so this is where we get to that 14-to-1 number, right? Because your leads are the lowest price you're going to find them anywhere. There is nothing better than picking up the phone and somebody's calling you instead of during these days when you're the one making all the calls, right? That is awesome. Your conversion is also so much higher because they've already called you. They already know they need a real estate need. They already know they have a real estate need. Either they know you personally or somebody they know, like, and trust knows you and has referred them. So they already have you above anybody else that they're just meeting. And it's just so much easier. You guys put time into your database. Put time into your database. Put time into your database. At the end of the day, it not only pays for itself, but that's your consistency. That's your regular paycheck. That's what keeps you on this trajectory instead of that roller coaster. Okay, we're cruising along. I'm doing pretty much by the book. Make sure you share that information. I'm trying really hard. So the next section talks about the difference between prospecting and marketing. We hear both terms used interchangeably, and yet they really have two very different meanings. Does anybody define both or tell me what the difference is between prospecting and marketing?
Time and money.
Time and money, yep. Yeah.
Marketing seems less direct than prospecting to me.
Okay.
General versus specific, maybe.
Passive maybe versus proactive. Okay.
Marketing is more advertising, and then prospecting is more generating conversations with people.
So prospecting is more of that lead gen time, right? It's actually very direct, very proactive. You have a goal in mind. Marketing is a little bit more of that running your business, right? It's marketing listings, it's searching for properties for buyers. There's still some marketing of yourself, but it's more of a, here's my information, let me know if I can be of help, versus here I am, ready to help, right? So both are important, super important that you do both, but which one do you think is going to give you the most business quickest? Absolutely. Prospecting is the much more direct, consistent results. This page goes back to our tags we talked about earlier and some different ways you can tag your clients in your database. I think really pretty much we got all of those. The only couple maybe we didn't talk about yet are VIPs. Some people label them their A clients. You have different names, but those are the people that you really want to stay in contact with, right? Those are the people that you know you're on the tip of their tongue whenever the conversation comes up. Those are the people that have either done and or referred multiple transactions to you over the years, or maybe you haven't had a referral yet, but they are the people that you know are standing in your corner, singing your praises. You always want to make sure you do a little extra for them, spend a little extra time, maybe extra dollars on them down the road. And then of course, tagging those investors, because that's big. Again, that's a very different client, a very different relationship. Last thing on here, and this is my winter project I've already decided, and that is really updating my vendor list. Really putting together, through COVID, I lost a lot of vendors that had to quit business for whatever, or moved, or did whatever. And I also have a few that I've referred recently that have not been pleased, yikes, with the service they've given to my clients. So they're going to be bumped off, and I'm going to move some people in. So be thinking about that. And that's not a bad way to call out, to reach out to your people, a reason to call. And putting together a vendor list. I'm wondering if you have any great electricians, plumbers, HVAC, gardeners, tree trimmers, house cleaners. Think of all the different pieces that come with the house, right? Just wonder if you have any of those people that you would recommend highly that I could reach out to and see if I could add them to my vendor list. You're not calling to be salesy, right? You're not calling to say, hey, I need you to buy a house today, because it doesn't work quite like that. But you're absolutely calling of service. You're calling from contribution, trying to spread that contribution further. So great reason to say in the third quarter, that's what my calls are going to be about, right? You can follow up with posting that on social media. The times I have done that through the years and posted, you'll be surprised that maybe your most commented, most interactive post that you've ever done, because people, again, they like to refer the people they know, they like to share that information. And so now you've made your person feel good because they've referred, you've made this person feel good, you've cemented that relationship because they referred each other, and now you've got a new person to add to your database as well as to be able to share with your people. So use that as a really great opportunity to contact and just continue to build your business. Does anybody use colors in their tags? Like all of your green or dollar related, or tell me what colors you're using and what your logic is, because I'm struggling with that piece, I'll be honest.
Yellow for family, because yellow makes me happy. Although lately some of them are blue, but that's okay.
No commentary here, we're straight by the
That's
book.
family.
Anybody else have great tags they're using colors for?
Can you create custom colors? I haven't seen that you can do that. They only have like 5 different colors.
Right, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just have a limited, like you can't do summer blue or.
Right.
Can't do fuchsia.
No fuchsia. That is a beautiful color. Anybody online using colors well on command?
No.
I use green.
Not yet, but now I will.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. First of all, it makes me happy to see those colors pop up on my screen. That's silly, but it's real. But there are really good strategic ways to use those colors. So again, easier done at the beginning to do it and have a purpose, and then to have to come back and redo, undo, and refigure it out. Okay. Okay, we are flying. This is back to what we talked about a little bit ago on your leads and contacts and what those specific steps are. Again, tweak as you decide one day, but for now, follow it as close as you can. It's done that way for a reason. And it wouldn't hurt to just do some brainstorming about what those touches look like. Maybe one of those phone calls or emails again is about that vendor list that we just talked about. Maybe you're going to send out a Christmas card or a holiday card, so I know what December is going to be right now. Sit down with a calendar and kind of plug that in, because really, if you spend an hour today trying to plug your calendar for the year, you're going to spend way less time that every month you sit down and go, okay, what should I do this month? Because then you'll be like me and you'll spend that whole hour getting ready to get ready and go, oh, I got to leave for an appointment. I'll get back to that. And it doesn't happen. So as we start to talk, as fall rolls around, and early fall, we'll start doing a lot of business planning clinics here in the office. Make sure you come in for at least one, maybe several. Sometimes it helps to hear it from different perspectives because everybody builds their business a little bit different. But really look at putting that 12-month plan together, because that will save you light years. And there's no reason you can't sit down now in early July and plan out the rest of your year, or bare minimum, plan out the rest of third quarter, right? And then in August, sit down and do fourth quarter. And that'll be kind of a start to really get you on track for that yearly planning come 2022. Can you believe that? Mercy. Anybody have any questions or great ideas on any of those touches for what you could do or what you are doing?
You're making me feel guilty, but that's okay, I should. I'm a good Catholic, so, or I was once. I was doing a monthly postcard to my farm, which is my neighborhood. And of course, I've heard nothing from nobody. Did it I think I did 3 months. And then this month I'm like, I'll do that tomorrow, And in fact, now it's too late to do it for that month. So I need to get on it for the next one. Yeah.
It's, like so many things in life, typically you stop just before the magic happens, right? One more and you would have done it.
Yeah.
You just stopped it.
That's all right.
So
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I think I'm going to get one piece of business out of this.
And I love how you stopped, and so you didn't say, I'm never going to do that again. I can't go back. You're like, okay, next, let's go. Here we go. What happened over there?
Nothing.
Okay.
Oh, I found fingers, that's what it is.
Oh.
She's not found the finger.
Oh, you tell me that. Did you just say that?
Any other thoughts?
Because now you're recorded.
It was multi-size. fingers, it was multiple.
Fat fingers.
Yeah.
That is what's here.
That's better.
Any other thoughts around touches and what you can, or any questions about what you might do?
Need to stop touching buttons.
No, I think it's a great idea to have a quarterly plan. We were just talking about taxes, because I think I'm gonna get my first check next week. And I'm
Yay.
like, oh, I had told myself I would pay quarterly taxes, but now actually I have to go find the forms and get that ready to trigger and have that in my calendar so I
Yeah.
know to submit that. So having a quarterly.
That's a big
plan,
one.
It's good, yeah.
That's a big one. You guys, when you start really delving into this database and you're tagging and now you're trying to create touches, don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to put together a small group for 30 minutes one day and just sit and everybody brainstorm about what we're going to send in third quarter or in fourth quarter, because I think that that is gold again. I think we're stronger together, and you know, we may sit and talk and Jamie may go, oh, I'm thinking about this, and then Casey goes, that's a great idea, but what if? And then Maria, and then I mean everybody plays off it, and at the end we have either this great idea or we have 7 versions of the great idea that fit each of us better, but it's the same general principle, right? Yes. So
It's
trying to
important.
help negotiate a contract too at the same time. So don't hesitate to reach out, and I would love to be involved in that conversation. We can sit on this glorious patio out here. And I'm happy not to be too, if you're like, nope, we just want to do it together. I get that, I respect that. But I think what we can pull out of those mastermind sessions is golden. So don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel, and especially don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel on your own. You can take and tweak, and you can take and click send of something that's already created, and whatever you put out there is going to be far better than not putting something out there. So feel free to reach out if there's something you want to sit down and talk about, because I'm always happy to do that. So back to our database, building a culture around testimonials and reviews. How many of you have that kind of in your plan, or you've at least thought it through of, oh, with each transaction, I'm going to send a document, or I'm going to ask for, or I've already set the expectation at my consultation if I'm going to ask for a review at the end. Anybody thought that piece through yet?
No.
So same, with one caveat. I think it through all the time, and I have not implemented it well. I have created a document that's pretty and has all of my things that I spent hours creating, that basically has all of the information for closing. Here's where it is, here's what time it is, here's what you need to bring. I have another document I've created that has like what I send to the sellers, whether I have the listing or I have the buyers, that basically says what day trash day is, where your mailbox is, what number it is, all of those things you always forget to ask until closing. So I have that I connect to it. And then at the bottom, it says, you know, please, you know, if we've done great, we would love to have you leave a review. And it's very much, again, a silent soldier. I don't push it hard. I have reviews out there. I don't push them hard. Everything that's happened has happened quite organically. So I think that's something you decide, but I will tell you, make that decision now so that you put that into your systems from day one. Because there are a lot of people in this day and age that do go on and search your reviews before they call you. They want to know what other people have to say. And so they are important, but I also think it's how you carry yourself and what you put out there all over the internet, right? People, and why we do it too. We stalk Facebooks, we stalk Instagrams, don't we? I mean, if you're trying to find something, I often do it before I write an offer. I want to know a little bit more about the agent I'm going to deal with, or before I accept, I want to know a little more.
Your exes, Kim?
I mean, you could do that too, I suppose.
No, it does not.
Anyway, just know that everything you're putting out there is about you. So while you can build that culture around testimonials, also there are other ways to build that, right? It's tagging your buyer, maybe when you have a closing. And don't say, look, I closed another one. it's telling the story of the buyer and what the buyer went through and what they did to get that place and tagging them. So now it's on their feed, right? All their friends are commenting on it, they're seeing everything. So I think there's just lots of ways to go about that same kind of result, whether you choose to do it on the reviews page, whether you choose, and which sites you do reviews, right? Because there are lots of options. Whether you choose to just collect them and just have it as a document you give out to a new buyer, new seller, or put in a pre-list or a pre-buyer consult package, whether you choose to just do it on the social media realm, that's up to you. But definitely think through an avenue that people have to say thank you to you. Okay. Okay. Number 2 on here is to regularly update and prune your database. I would say mostly it's update. I think there are few occasions to remove somebody, but there are occasions, right? There are reasons you want to pull people out for whatever that looks like. Make sure you do really pay attention if somebody says, hey, I want to be removed, do it, or there can be some major complications. Make sure on that same note, any emails that you're sending out, lump emails, that they have that disclaimer on the bottom that people have a way to unsubscribe or to be taken off your list. I always have that, and I have yet to have anybody say, hey, take me off your list. Doesn't mean they aren't thinking that, but I don't know that if they don't let me know. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like my stuff is obnoxious or too frequent. It should be more frequent, likely.
Question on that, like I have a couple of like texts that I sent out that I had them, click stop or whatever.
Yeah.
So essentially unsubscribing.
Yep.
Do I then have to go in manually and redo anything? Like if I do another campaign or something, will it just automatically pull them in?
Or it depends on how you've got them tagged and how you're pulling.
Take them out. If it's set up, click the thing that says stop.
Yeah.
So like mine automatically send out says you can unsubscribe at the bottom. When they unsubscribe, it tells me they unsubscribe.
Right.
And then that
They're not on the
program takes them off the list.
Yeah.
Right. So even though if I were to do another send out
They should be
text
off.
later, it should be off. Okay.
Yeah, unsubscribing does not remove them from every campaign. You have to do that yourself.
Okay. That's what, okay.
That was my guess. That depends
Unfortunately.
on how you tag them and how you set up that next campaign and pull them from that campaign. But depending on how you set up the next one, it may or may not trigger the same.
With my postcards, which I've been creating
Mine
in
does. Mine takes them
Command,
off.
and then using their map to choose to select the houses in my neighborhood, a radius and a number of them. I have noticed that those have already removed any houses that were returned, the postcards were returned to me.
Yep.
So that's kind of nice. You can double check, but they seem to be doing that.
There are people that have their mail blocked. So I did the magazines to everyone in my HOA. And I had 7 of them that they did not send me to.
Yeah.
So when I asked them why they didn't send it to, and they said because they, through the post office, they had it marked. No advertising.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have let me mail them to them anyway.
Some of mine were no longer lived there, or
Yeah.
the house was empty, or whatever. So, but it seems the system seems to have taken them out once that notice is received from the USPS.
I think the key in this discussion is that depending on what format you're using, what platform you're using to send from, and potentially even which campaigns you're sending from within that platform, are going to hear it and read it and take it a little bit different. So make sure it's not a universal is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So make sure, because there's nothing that makes somebody more angry than getting it the first time when they don't want it, as you're telling no and it comes back. So I would just double check at least a couple of times until you know how your system works inside and out, to know that you won't have to watch that again. And after that, I just apologize profusely. And just say, so thank you, Casey. Good to see you. Hope we see you later tonight.
Oh, I'll see you tonight.
Awesome. Okay. So we've hit the ahas, and I think we have about a half an hour left. I know I want to share with, if you'd like, a little bit about what I do with my lead gen and through my database. That's off record here a little bit. But before we get there, let's talk through what we've just been through with database. definitely let me know if you had questions that we didn't get to or didn't cover fully enough to answer your question. And then just really what sticks out to you about database and what was most important, or maybe your action item. What's the first thing you're gonna do now moving forward to build, feed, prune that database, just make it a really effective system in your business. Do you guys want to start this time since they started last time?
I think for me, getting that consistency in my database and really sitting down and taking the time to get the touches in, and again, still trying to figure out how to do that efficiently, because again, that becomes daunting. Like now I've got all my database and I've got like almost 600 people in my database to go through and set each one individually up on the campaign.
So what
And the most
happened?
efficient way to do that.
Yeah, what
10 a
happened?
day or something.
I was just gonna say, what
Break it
happens
down
if
to
you
certain
either
letters.
set a number a day or you say
Yeah.
30 minutes a day?
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna do it every day at 8:30 or every day at 4:30, whatever time works into your day. But I think it's when you know it's 30 minutes, I can do 30 minutes, because I'm not a sit on the computer and do this, that drives me crazy. I wanna move and groove and be outside, but I can do 30 minutes. You
Yeah.
can't do 3 hours. Right, so 30 minutes a day is gonna be way better than 3 hours
Yeah.
one day, and I don't do it again for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
There's something to be said too, I think, for kind of doing it in passes or glosses. So like for me, the first thing I did was I went and found those Facebook birthdays and I put people on a birthday plan. And then after I'd had a chance to make my first contact, I could ask them, hey, do you want to be on a neighborhood plan where you're hearing
Love
about
that.
properties for sale every other week, either in the neighborhood where you live or where you want to live. And then suddenly I could put that in, right?
Love that.
So I didn't need to do for every contact, every single thing. I just felt like I could keep going back and doing and doing and doing, the more engaged I
Right.
was.
And I've done a lot of that,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about more like putting this 19 touch in and having to do, okay, now, because it's not just going in and doing one thing quick, it's like, okay, I've gotta do like 12 touches to this person and making sure that I have reminders for that. And.
But
or
really,
however
for
you do
most
each.
of your database, aren't they gonna be pretty much the same touches? Meaning in January, if you're sending out a Happy New Year, aren't you gonna send that probably to everybody?
Yes.
So really, it's more of setting that up and then putting everybody in that.
So do you set like your campaign up and you do, this is my 19 touch campaign, and you put it all in the same thing, and then you create your list? See, that's what I'm talking
Chunking.
about, like how do you make
Right,
it
how
more
do you do that?
efficient instead of doing.
I've got you
each person?
standing here and I'm feeling like maybe there's a better answer.
No, absolutely, segment, that's what the tag's
Yeah.
for, segment now, so.
Yeah.
You put your tag on the way you might communicate.
Yeah.
So, no, absolutely right.
Does that make sense? You just gotta chunk it out. When it's this big, it is daunting, overwhelming, never mind, I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
When it's 30 minutes or 10 people, you can make time for
I think the
that.
hardest part I have is I have an idea of how it should work.
Yep.
And then I go into command and it doesn't work that way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why? That would be so simple.
That's never happened to me.
So,
Yeah.
and it also feels, Jamie, like yours might work better if you get out of command for a minute and just sit down and plan out what those touches look like out of there. And now I can take this plan and put it in for my people.
Well, I think that's what's happening, and then, but then when I get into command, I'm like, command doesn't work that way.
I gotcha.
And it's learning.
And it would be so easy if command just works that way.
A lot of life works that way, doesn't
Yeah.
it? If it just read my mind and worked the way I want it to, it'd be a piece of cake,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So just finding out the most efficient way to do it.
gotcha. Whoa,
Sorry. I
She was catching the way.
thank you.
I know. I threw coffee.
How about you, Linda?
How am I going to develop my database? Is that the question?
Yeah, just what's your first action item? What
action
stood
item.
out and what are you gonna jump on first?
I think the smart plans are the what stand out the most right now for me, because I've gone in and put in all my people from my phone into my database.
Okay,
And then I started to go down the list of like, okay, who do I have addresses for? Who can I get it from Realist or things like that, right? And then I was hitting so many walls with like, I don't have addresses for all these people, or they didn't want to give me an address. So I think I haven't explored smart plans as much as I should. So right now, the only two I have active really are just like the bi-weekly one and, actually I only have one,
Oh, yeah.
which
Neighborhoods.
is that means the same one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bi-weekly is the neighborhood one. Yeah, so I haven't explored those enough, so I think my next step is going to be to explore those smart plans. So that I can get those
Same.
touches like automated,
Yeah.
and it will seem less daunting, obviously, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I would really pay attention because I know Chris teaches smart plans frequently in the Market Center. And I think that's one of those where you're gonna learn a lot by sitting, going through the steps together. And so to be here or be a part of that class where you can just do it and not have to sit here and try and figure it out on your own, but do it. And then when command doesn't work like you want it to, you've got somebody well-versed that you can say, what about? And they're like, won't do that, but you could get there this way. Or maybe they're like, great idea, let's send in a ticket on that.
Okay.
But I think that's, take advantage when those are here. I need to do the same thing because I've gotten away from it.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. How about you?
Almost the same thing, just playing around with it more and actually going through each smart plan to see what it entails and utilizing it more.
Yeah, because the smart plans are kind of like what we've talked about on your database, right? On your database, if you put junk information, you're going to get it out. If you put good, it's going to come out good. Then with the smart plan, if you take the time and learn it, you're going to be able to utilize it fully, and it's going to do so much more of this for you that you won't have to do yourself. But if you're like me and you only learn enough to get by to do what you needed to do at that point, then you're missing all of this capability.
There's something I wanted to add, just to the smart plan stuff, because I am very much like, I want it to be perfect, so then I get prepared and then don't do it because I'm like, no, I'm missing something, right? So what I did was I added myself to my command and put myself like on the smart plans that I was putting other people in, because I realized, just in my past career, people would be like, well, what do I do next? Or I saw your email, but I'm not sure like what to do with it. And I haven't gotten that yet, but I do want to be prepared for that conversation or just see what's being sent out. Like I just recently got an email and I was like, wait, that's not even my phone number. Why is that showing up that way?
Totally.
So, a good way for me to streamline the information I'm putting out there. So I added myself. I just wanted to share that too.
Always put yourself in there. And there's another great reason to reach out to maybe a couple of your trusted advocates and just say, hey, I'm trying out this new program. I just really want some feedback on what you're getting and how it looks and what I can do to improve it. Do you have 5 minutes once a week or every other week that I could just send something to you? I just really want your feedback on it. And so many people, you guys are going to be in your corner and be thrilled to help you out if you just ask. And they're going to learn some stuff along the way too. And guess what? Now you're really in their mind as a trusted real estate professional that's trying to learn and grow and figure it out. So awesome. How about you guys online? How about Salvador?
Hi. So I just like a lot of the information you guys have, especially on kind of getting, like you just said, kind of getting permission from people to see if they want some information through the smart plan and opening the door through that way and giving them that information and looking more professional. And I really like that. I'm really taking into consideration everything that you guys are saying, and it's a lot to soak in. It's a focus on the database.
It's a lot of fire hose right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that the key on that conversation is when you're asking for permission, really you're coming from a position of asking them if you can be of service to them. Is it okay if I send you this? Just, no pressure. I just want you to be able to keep an eye on your neighborhood, or, I just want to be able to reach out from time to time rather than, check here if I have your permission to use your email address, right?
Yeah.
Definitely come from contribution.
Yeah. And that's really good.
How about you, Sharon?
I just feel like I need to really get started with the smart plans. I've been a little intimidated because I think I am being held back by perfectionism, and I've got to put these people
Started
in this category.
perfectionism anonymous group in our office, maybe. Yeah.
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 So,
Perfection.
I just need to get started with that and dive in.
Yeah. Love it. Maybe we could just all work on it together, and then I can tell you that you got it. Don't worry about it. You can tell me, we can do this little circle. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, you're frozen.
Oh. I told you I needed a sweater, but is that the end of our time?
Oh,
Or am I back? No?
see you guys.
Unstable.
Stable. I mean, it's not the first time I've heard that. How about you, Paige? What did you grasp? What's your action item?
I really love putting yourself on your own campaigns, and I struggle with the perfectionist thing too, where it's like I'm not going to do it unless it's done right. Well, that I've done plenty of, with procrastination, I've pulled off plenty of things, without stressing about it too much or worrying about the perfection, but just getting it done. So I'm trying to focus on that. And my favorite thing is to practice with the people I know and love. So my dad's like, oh, I would think about some land in Colorado. And it's like, all right, here we go. How do I find, and that gave me like a task where, I can't say it was the best preparation, but I got him on a regular email every Thursday from the MLS for new properties that might come up. And now I've learned that I can reach out to these other agents that seem to know, like, we're talking rural Colorado, nothing crazy, but I'm not afraid to offend my dad with a bunch of emails and spam, and he'll give me feedback too. So I feel like practicing on friends, family, neighbors is a really good way to start and help with that intimidation. And then I'm not so afraid of the perfection because one, my dad will give it to me straight. And two, it's just practice, and he knows that. And it's only going to help me, become better and stronger and really learn how to use the systems. He was one of the first contacts I put into, besides myself and my husband, put into Command, and then just clicking around there and seeing what happens. And practice on yourself. And I love putting yourself on everything you're sending out so you can see how it appears, how it looks to other people.
I love that. And my dad is that person in my world too. So that's special. And I will tell you that he will, while he loves you more than any of these other clients ever can, he will also be the hardest on you in those conversations and shooting things back. And you're like, Dad, stop. But so he's doing it, and you're going to learn so much.
Now he's talking about buying like an Airbnb, a place that can create revenue in California. And I'm like, okay, good, be gone, because I'm done.
Well, wait, let me refer you to that agent in California for sure.
Exactly. So we're going to narrow down an area. And so that's a good place to, even if people aren't interested in buying homes, I'm still using, my best friend. I'm like, hey, let me send you this, tell me how it looks, right? And I know she hasn't looked at it yet, but it's something, it keeps my activities going. So I'm more prepared when somebody does ask me. But lead gen,
you will totally find that activity breeds activity. And when you're at work every day and you're going through the motions and you're surrounded by the language of real estate and you're hearing these conversations about what's going on and how we're negotiating and how we got through that, and not just the celebrations, but also the struggles and challenges, because we all have them. It's amazing what you're going to glean and what you're going to pick up, and how suddenly you're going to be the one having those conversations. So I love that. Love it. How about you, Sarah? I don't know if you're still with us or not.
I'm still here. Hello. Trying to multitask today. I know.
Understand.
No, I think there's some great information that you guys have shared, and I love all the conversation between everyone. That's awesome. It's definitely just all about consistency and practice, and making sure you find your own organization within Command so that you understand what you're doing, and you can keep things flowing smoothly. So yeah, I thought this was great.
Love it. And thank you. And I agree. There's a lot of great meat and information in each section of Ignite, and a lot to learn, 100%. And I think the real learning comes from the conversation and discussion, masterminding around the topics. And that goes from here on out. So always take advantage to be a part of those groups when that happens. Thank you, everybody, for the feedback. And hopefully all of your questions got answered today regarding the topic specifically. just a little bit about kind of my lead gen, and then after I share that, anything at all you want to ask about, I'm always an open book and happy to share, or if you're just over it, I get it too. My biggest source of lead gen is in the morning, while speaking of Sarah, multitasking, and while I'm drying my hair. And at that point, I'm also scrolling through social media. So if you see me on social in the morning, you probably can go, oh, she's drying her hair. I know her like clockwork. My secret's out.
How do you do both at the same time?
So I'm drying my hair and I'm scrolling, and I am really paying attention to those posts. And so my goal every day is 50, 20, 5, 1, 3. And so every day I want to like 50 posts. Now, that's easy, but I will tell you, I don't click. If I'm gonna like it, I'm gonna read it, because I don't want to run into that person later in the day somewhere and then go, oh, I saw you liked my post, and think, oh my gosh, what did they say? I want to be genuine, I want to be valid, I want to be real all the time. So if I have clicked like, I have absolutely read the post and at least clicked through some of the photos. At least 20 of those I'm going to comment. And it's not just going to be a love it, great, that's nice, happy birthday. It's going to be at least a 2-sentence comment, right? So it's not like I just said happy birthday, I moved on, but I read their post, I noticed it, I valued what they said, I'm going to respond with something. 20 of those, you'd be surprised how quick that goes. 5 of those I'm going to take off of that post and turn into a 2-way conversation. So I'm going to make sure that there's at least a couple of exchanges going back and forth, meaning I'm going to ask them a further question. I'm going to say, tell me more about that. I'm going to say, where did you get those shoes? I love those shoes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe your daughter is 2. How are the 2s going for you? Whatever it is, I'm going to take 5 of those conversations offline and comment deeper. I'm going to find one person on my social every day that I feel like I should schedule time for coffee, grab a glass of wine, go for a walk, do something, have some kind of connection. If I'm honest, that's for them. It's also for me. I want that interaction. I want to go hang out and just have a more solid conversation. I'll go over them in a second. And then 3 people, I'm going to take some special photos that they've posted that day. I'm going to download them onto my computer. I'm going to pop them in a card and send it to them. Those are powerful, because who prints photos anymore? Nobody. Yep, we got one here. You're the first person all the times I've taught this class that said that. That's awesome. Few people, I'll just say few people now, print photos anymore. And so when a photo of their child's birthday, this week I've been sending a lot of photos of 4th of July celebrations, because everyone's posting all the special memories. Whatever it is that's going on in their world. Soon it will be kids going back to school, kids moving away for college, the last hurrah before school. I sent a lot to my clients that came to the grand opening. I made sure to send a photo of them here at our building. The card is totally about them, celebrating them. The back of it, yeah, it's got my information, just like return address, and it might be polka dotted and have the water tower and that. But the card's about them, right? It's totally about them. You'd be surprised how many of those cards live for years on refrigerators, on mantles, on desks at the office, because again, it's the only photo they printed. And so when somebody walks into their desk and goes, oh, how cute, and they go, yeah, my realtor sent that to me and my stuff's on the back. Oh, well, my realtor never did that. You guys, it took me 5 minutes to send it. And it could have been gold printed, because it means that much to them. First of all, I gave them something that showed them that I noticed, valued, and appreciated. Didn't cost me much. Second of all, it's lasting. It's a keepsake. It's a memory. It's something they're not going to go, oh, great, and throw in the trash, right? So that has been my hugest source of business. I also will send those every year on their home anniversary. And that is actually fairly systematized in that in January, I create my new card for the year. I do personally write each card when I get the reminder because I want it to be personal, something about their year, something about when they bought their house, something about updates or something they were going to do. But the card itself, I only have to create once at the beginning of the year and then blather, rinse, repeat. So that I have systematized a little bit. But I would say just, again, look for those things. And the best part, you guys, is I get done with my lead gen and I feel really good. I feel like I've made a difference for these people. I feel like they know they matter. I don't feel salesy. I don't feel slimy. I don't dread it. I actually love that time of my day. I look forward to celebrating the people in my world that I mean, they're in my world for a reason, right? Because I love these people. So it's a really great win-win. And I'm not going to tell you that is or is not the system for you. I'm just going to tell you to make sure you find ways that do light your fire, that do make your heart sing, that do make you feel like, I want to show up and do this every day. Not the, oh my gosh, do I have to do that again? There are things in every business we have to do that we don't love. They're just part of the day. And forget business, just life, right? But I think the more things you can set up and drive that just truly do make your heart sing, it becomes a pleasure and you really look forward to it. And when you look forward to it, I think your clients get that feel from you that you really love what you do and you're here to take care of them. And that's who they want in their corner fighting for them, right? Anyway, that's my whole spiel about what I do mostly. I do open houses as well. I'll be doing that this weekend. I have door knocked. I don't hate door knocking. I'm not a big cold caller. I've tried. Make sure you try. But the others definitely make my heart sing. And then typically every summer I do a big drinks in my driveway for my neighborhood, and that's been big too. So questions, thoughts, anything else that you want for the last few minutes here?
How many were the ones that you said that you,
Oh, I'm
made a
sorry, the
copy?
numbers. So 50 likes,
Yeah.
20 comments, 5 two-way conversations.
And you said that's offline, so you then contact them. through
I might
Messenger
text
or
them, I
or-
might messenger, I might pick up the phone and call depending, but not like where it's public, where everybody can see what we're talking about. I wanted a little more personal just between us. Excuse me, 1 appointment or get together and then 3 cards that I sent. And those cards could be note cards, you guys, they could be handwritten cards. I think the last statistic I saw was that the average American gets 11 pieces of personal mail a year. I mean, that includes holiday cards, birthday cards, 11 for the whole year. That's not even one a month, right? How many do you get? So when you get it, you open it and you look at it, right? So I think whether you go that extra mile and do the photos and all of that, or whether you just sit down and handwrite a card, or whether you go to Target or Amazon, whatever, and just pick up a stack, whatever, I think that matters. You took the time.
Debbie?
Yes.
What's the best service for printing just a few photos at a time?
If you're just printing photos, I usually go to Walgreens and do them that way. And I think that's,
They have an app
yep, you can just upload them and you pick them up, or you can even have them sent. I also do send out cards, and that's why I can put them on my cards super easy and just get them sent.
Okay.
And I'm always happy to talk that through. I'm not here to sell it at all. It's just something that's worked for me.
Okay, yeah. It's just most of the places.
No, Command or Send Out Cards has its own database.
It's actually called Send Out Cards.
If you want it, let me know and I'll send you my link. But
Okay.
anyway, it's been golden. There are, again, lots of ways you can do it. You can just super easy now with technology, you know, order photos from Walgreens or whatever as well. Anybody else? Okay. You guys, thank you so much for taking time this afternoon to hang out with me. I'm sorry I don't follow the book well. I felt a little scripted today with the book here, I'll be honest. But hopefully we did keep on track enough that you did get the info that was intended. And with that being said, please, please, please stop by my office anytime. Call me, text me, email me, get me on social, whatever. I am 100% an open book. My success comes when I get to watch you guys succeed. That's what lights my fire the very most in our office. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Ladies, I hope that you'll join us tonight for sure. Pop by, even if you can't stay for a long time, just pop by for a little bit. Join us on the patio, and then definitely plug in. Come in for team rallies, pop in for coffee talk. If you haven't gotten your t-shirt yet, make sure you come to the next breakfast so we get you connected there with that shirt. And just be here, stop in and say hello. You'll be surprised if you come in and work in the office, work on the patio or whatever, even if it's, you know, a couple times a week. I think you'll be surprised how much more you actually pick up. And just, you're surrounded by it, and it's magical. And I mean, we kind of have a good time here too, I'll be honest. It's a pretty fun place to hang out. So anything you need, give me a holler. Otherwise, make it a great, great day. And I hope to see you in here soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Debbie,
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
I forget how to operate it.